Hi, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for this second session here with us. I'm just going to give it like 2 minutes. I see there's quite a few people still joining, so we will just give it a second for them to also join us, and then we will start. Okay, I'm just confirming that we have sound here, and then we're going to start now. Right. Again, welcome everybody. For the people that just joined, this is the financial statement sessions that we have today for the second in the series of the Get Ahead. And we've got quite a few people still joining, but I'm going to start with the intro and I'm sure you'll catch up shortly. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ninka. I'm the product manager for the financial statements. So the IFRS and the SME template is what I work on. With me today, I've got Sandrine. You've already met her yesterday. She will be presenting and take you through the session. And on the call, we also have Angela, which will help with some questions. For those of you that was in the session yesterday, just again, all the attendees we mute. It's just because we have a lot of people on the call, but we do attend to the question panes the whole time. So please post any question that you have on there and we'll try to come back to you as soon as possible. Then if your signal is lost or you have load shedding or you can't hear us, we're also monitoring that the whole time. So please just rejoin again, and it's probably just a signal issue that we have. Right, so like I said, today we're going to cover financial statements, and I just want to give a little bit of background on the purpose of financial statements and why we do it. Because as I'm sure all of you know, time is very, very valuable, and when you studied, it was one thing that would have come up, and now when you're starting your articles, it's something that is as important, is what do you spend your time on and to be as productive as possible. So why do we prepare financial statements? So when you want to start any entity, and I'm going to refer to company, but there's quite a lot of different entities in different regions, then you have to register that company normally at the company's house. In South Africa, that is called SIPC. And then as part of that, you have to comply with the Companies Act and some legal requirements. Part of those requirements are to compile financial statements. And then different regions again have different requirements of how long it is. Normally it's around 6 months after year end, you have to prepare your financials. If you're a listed company, it's normally a bit shorter, 4 months or so. So that's the reason why you prepare these financial statements. And then what do you prepare it on? So you mostly have two standards currently that we use in Africa, being IFRS and SME. But how it evolved over the years was each country has its own standards. It would have been, for example, SA GAAP. Then what happened, and I want to say about 20, 25 years ago, so quite a bit of time, the IFRS standard came out, which was a global standard. It was the first of its kind because people wanted to see and compare entities, especially in groups or specific industries, to see and that they're all on the same framework. So what a lot of countries have done is their local GAAP, like SA GAAP, aligned very closely with IFRS, and then the people just transitioned from SA GAAP to their local GAAP to IFRS. So that was quite a smooth transition over time. The SME standard wasn't available then, and that only came in later when there was a need for smaller, less complex disclosures. So if you've created your file yesterday, some of you did ask, can I create it on IFRS? Must it be on SME? Now, the principle for these trainings for IFRS and SME is exactly the same, how to add a note, how your TB works and all of that. But it is very important before you start any file to double check what framework you are using. These are two separate templates. They don't integrate with each other, and you're either on SME or on IFRS. You can't have a part of the financials on SME and a part on IFRS. So very important to make sure before you start any files to double check what the framework it is that they use. Then there's a few role players that I'm just going to talk about because as you're sitting, as we find out most of you are sitting alone, there's different role players that will look at your financials, and it's maybe important for you to think about, in your instance, how it will normally work. So firstly, you have your companies, and that's the corporate entity that is registered with your company's house, but have to have financials prepared. right? So you've got them. Then you've got outsourced firms, which can be like a management firm or a consulting firm. And then you've got the audit firm, which I believe where most of you will sit in. The outsourced firm can also sometimes be an arm of the audit firm. So your audit firm will have an audit side and you'll have a consulting side as well. So the requirement for the financial statements, like I say, sits with the companies that is internal, but then they can choose who prepare those financials. It can be themselves, and there's no reason why they can't. The only reason why they normally don't prepare it is because of costing, or maybe they don't have expertise, or something in that regards. Then they would outsource it. So they can either, like I say, outsource it to a consulting firm or then to an audit firm, if it is allowed. There is normally legislation to say, but certain audits, you can't perform the audit and the financial statements. But I'm not going to go into that detail today. So it is, so you'll have different instances where you will prepare financials. So you might do a file where you have the audit and the financial statements in, or you might do a file that just have the financial statements in. So it's just important to know that there's differences in those. Then we have some stakeholders that we talk about, and the first ones that we have is the preparer with the reviewer and then the auditors. So if you're in the audit firm space, it might be that your preparer is actually in your company that itself, the outsourced company, sorry, not the outsourced company, the corporate company, and then the reviewer and the auditor sits in the audit field. Or it can be, but you as the auditor are preparing it, and then the preparer and the reviewer and the auditor will all sit in the same firm. So it is important to know about these role players, because the preparer will prepare it, but then if, for example, the auditor pick up a journal, then that is something that has to go through the chain again, and the change needs to happen again. And if you are in one firm, it might be a very simple process or easier process. If you've got an outsourced firm that prepares on behalf of a corporate, then this can be quite a lengthy process to get changes or a review process done. Then on top of this, and this is not exclusive, it's just to keep in mind, you have other stakeholders that's very interested in these financials. Firstly, your creditors, your investors. Normally, if there's big investments, they definitely would want to see what's going on. You have the banks, if you want to get some funding or anything in that regard. SARS, also very interested to see where the money's going. And then lots of others that I'm not going to cover today. So as you go through this journey of the financials especially, and if you join the audit sessions tomorrow, then keep in mind that there's different role players that can sit in one firm, but it can also be in different firms. And your needs might be different depending on that. And that was my intro for today. With that, I'm going to hand over to Sandrine. I hope you guys have a lovely day and enjoy the session with us, and I'll see you again. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much, Ninga, for that super interesting introduction. Welcome to every one of you. For those who weren't there with us yesterday, we are going to continue with the file that we've used. And yeah, I just want to also welcome all of you to this Get Ahead series webinar. We were really excited to gather the brilliant minds from across Africa this week. So the program for today, we will just quickly making sure that my monitor is showing. So here we go. So we're going to introduce to you how to open your Caseware, where to find the Caseware if your file has been zipped or compressed, how to open it, where to find it. We're going to go into the financial statement overview, the recommended best practices when you open your financial statement, the reasons for the different windows that you'll see. We'll go through the statement layout, how to change the different layouts, how to update, not update, but change the different fonts, the different options in Caseware financial statements will be shared with you, the importance of information store as well, and we will end with the Q&A. This session is a 3-hour session. We're going to have a break around 10:30 or maybe a little bit before. We've got polls, we've got surprises, we've got a very interesting survey at the end. So please do stay with us until the end. We've got a lot to cover today. So let's proceed. I'm just going to switch off my camera just to make sure that you can hear me 100%. So let's begin. The first thing is to open an existing file in Caseware working paper. So we've created an engagement file yesterday. We've compressed it. Today, we want to open it. So the first thing to open a file, you're going to launch first your application. Yesterday, we've explained to you what's Caseware application, where to find it. So it's on your desktop, clock-like icon. You're going to double click on it and launch the application. The first thing that you will see is the blue ribbon with the file, blue ribbon. Select the open. Actually, it's already selected for you. Then under the recent files, you should see the list of all the recent files that you have accessed. However, you can still go to your computer and browse to the location of a file in the event you can't see it under the recent files. For those of you using SmartSync, you can go through as well to your different servers, locate your file. We've also have the cloud option that we will cover next week, Wednesday, for those who have access to cloud. I'll cover how to access the cloud. Now, when you are on the recent file, how do you locate your different files? First of all, you'll notice the location, the default location, C program files, x86 Caseware data, the name of your entity. You're going to double click on it to open your Caseware file. You will be prompted to insert your username and password. So remember yesterday, we've created your username and password. On my side was Sandrine Permal and then my password. If you forgot your username and password, what you can do is still insert the SUP. If you're a new intake, usually your manager or your supervisor will provide you with that username and password. They will already do the creation of your login. So let's go together. I'm going to exit this presentation and we will open our Caseware working paper. So I'm going to double click on the Caseware working paper application. Under the recent file, we have the Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited. Remember, this Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited is currently compressed. So to uncompress the file, double click on the name of the file. Username, I'm going to insert the username that I have created yesterday and then press on OK. Now remember, if you are struggling with the opening of a file, where to locate the file, you have accessed the Caseware Africa, your go-to website for all your queries in respect of Caseware working papers. I actually have it onto my phone. I've pinned it to my phone so that anytime, even bedtime watching, I'll just go in there and check out if I've got a question. I actually, even though I've got experience of Caseware, I always go to Success Community. All right, I'm just giving you guys a few seconds to open your Caseware working paper, the Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited that we created yesterday. So, if you have your Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited open, you'll notice that If you have left all the folders and subfolders open from yesterday, you'll have your document manager with the folders and subfolders open. A quick tip to close everything to make it very nice is to right-click over any folder and collapse all the folders. You know, I'm a typical accountant. I'm a typical auditor. I like it when it's in the right order. I like the folders to be closed nicely so that when I come in, it's clean, sleek, and then I'll go to wherever I want to go. So right click over any folder, select the collapse all in the right clicking menu, and boom, it's all collapsed. Now remember, today's session is all about your financial statements, how to draft in Caseware working paper. So the folder that you want to locate is the financial statements folder, is the third folder onto your document manager. You can expand the folder, and then the first subfolder, financial statement preparation, this is where you have the financial statements, the IFRS template. If you're using the IFRS for SME, please use it, open your financial statements. The concept is the same as the full IFRS. Double click to launch your case view document. A quick reminder for those who were not there with us yesterday, the case view is a report writer application. It will allow you to do modifications such as typing any information relevant to your client. It also has automation. It will pull information from your trial balances, from your information store, and more. And it's different from Caseware. It opens with that paper icon. So if you should follow my cursor, top left of my screen, there's a little paper icon with a C on it. That's the case view for Windows. And remember, trust your software. Trust that when it's executing script, bottom left of your screen, it is currently making sure that all the information, all the instructions you've given under engagement properties, under information store within your TB, your journal entries, they're all pooling to the case view document. Do not close, do not force close, force shut down your application. It will pull in a few moments. All right, whilst my case view is opening, a quick reminder, polite reminder to everybody, if you need your CPD certificates, please make sure that you log in onto your computer. We understand that you might be in a room with your different colleagues onto one laptop projecting. But please make sure maybe on your phone or on your computer, you log in with your email and your name. We want to make sure that you secure your CPD certificates. Just giving a few more minutes for those of you opening Caseware. You should have the optimized window pooling in a few moments. All right. So what's that optimized window that you're seeing? The optimized window allows you to see the accounting policies not in the file and the accounting policies in the file. So the first two part of this particular window relate to your accounting policies not in the file and in the file. Then bottom left of the screen, you've got all the notes not in the file and the notes in the file. So the content that have been, for instance, included in the file is based on your accounting policy, based on the mapping that you've done. So let's first start with the accounting policies not in the file and accounting policies in the file. So if we start with the left-hand side of the screen, the top left corner of this particular optimized window, you can see the list of items that have not yet been activated. It's not in the file, like open and activated in the file. Whilst the right-hand side of this screen, the accounting policies in the file with the green tick next to each name will be the accounting policies relevant for your engagement file. If you need to bring in, for instance, for whatever reason, you want to bring in investment property accounting policies in the file, you can simply select the investment property and it will jump to the right. So I really love this optimized window because it gives you a bird's eye view of all the items relevant to your engagement and help you scroll through and make sure that everything has been inserted. Then the bottom part of the screen relates to your notes not in the file and the notes in the file. I have to mention that the trade receivables and trade payables will be included in all files and will not be visible in the optimizer. So why is that? Usually that's a question that I received since the update. This ensures that the automatic rounding function works correctly when applied to the file. So the cash generated from operations will be included also in all the files and will not be visible in the optimizer. The new standards and interpretations will also be included in all files, and this will be applicable to all the files and therefore included by default. So the optimizer screen also indicates the nodes that do not have any amounts mapped to it. So it is recommended to run the optimizer after the file is complete. Now, that optimized screen will pull up again if you have new accounts mapped. So for example, like the case of yesterday, we re-imported the TB of Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited. So we said that the finance manager shared a second version of the TB with us. If we have had a new account, we had to map it. Then, if it is a new category, it will then pull again the optimized window showing you, hey, there's a new item that has been mapped. Your accounting policies will now be inserted. The notes will then also be inserted. I'm also going to show you how you can reopen that optimized window. You can now click on next on your screen. The next option, the next button will then show you the optimized window, a more cleaner version of the optimized window. You will only be able to see all those items within that will be inserted in the file, the accounting policies and the note. You can still scroll through. It's nice, it's sleek, it's clean. You can really understand what's going to be inserted. Please continue, press on OK to confirm the insertion of your accounting policies and notes. When you click on OK, what will happen is all the contents, all these accounting policies and the notes that were selected will be inserted in your financial statements. You will see that little adding content, please wait dialog box. So please, this take a few minutes to turn on the notes and accounting policies in your file, because remember, Caseware will give you a set of compliant financial statements. So it will execute script. Please be patient. Grab a cup of coffee or some water. Make sure that you allow your adding content to complete nicely. Do not force shutdown again. That's the message I wanted to say. While it is executing script on your side, just a quick reminder of the information store, what we did yesterday. Remember, the information store is filled up during the setup of your engagement, whereby we had yellow cells. These were editable cells. We had to insert the nature of the business of Wrap-Up Manufacturing Limited. We also inserted the trading name. We also have seen yesterday, you've got some white cells that's pooling your information somewhere else. For instance, the registered name. This is pooling from your engagement properties. And this information will then feed into your financial statement. Actually, it's all the information pooling onto your info store will then pull into your financial statements. The addresses, the bank details, the dates, the directors' details, the independent auditors, all of that will feed into your financial statements. So the usual scenario that I have in Mauritius, and I'm going to say Mauritius because I'm from Mauritius, is the currency symbol. So for instance, the clients, they don't want to see the dollar sign, they want to see USD. Because the currency symbol is, if you should follow my pointer, it's in a yellow cell. You can modify the cell and override the R. For instance, here, I can put USD. Of course, let's change the currency first nicely to US dollar. Then the currency symbol, you could update it to USD. So whatever you do here will appear onto your financial statements. I will continue with the introduction of the financial statements whilst our FS is busy populating and adding content. So please, you can follow through on my screen, and then we'll go back to the financial statements to do some exercises. On the top of my screen, you have what we call the case view ribbon. So in the case view ribbon, you can activate your document map, for instance. I really like that option. It helps you to jump faster to the different sections of your financial statements. You don't need to scroll through and find your way. Just click on document map, and that really helps. Then on the case view ribbon, you also have the zoom option. I've got quite a small screen on my side, and I really like to zoom it to see it, a bit bigger. I also wear glasses, as you've seen. So if you want to zoom it, please feel free to zoom your screen, and you can view your financial statements a bit bigger. Once you've done that, usually I would minimize the case view ribbon. So you want to see a bigger portion of the financial statements by using that little button, a little hat button. If you click on it, it will minimize the ribbon and you shall see your full FS appearing. Okay. Now let's move on to the financial statements toolbar. The first option that you have on the toolbar is the document menu. So when we will click on the document menu, we will see that we are on the editing enabled mode. So this mode will allow you to modify your financial statements, to type in any information relevant for your client. The review editing and the review enabled usually will be used by your seniors, by your supervisors, if they want to review the financial statements. It's It's more or less like an advanced print preview. It does allow some options of case view, like a drill down, etc. But we'll go through the concept of drill down. Then you can configure your document. So whatever you see under document will have an impact on the full document. Same for sorting sections. It will allow you to see all the sections in the document. Then you also have the format document that we will see in detail just now. You can format header of your document. Once again, it's not just one page, it's the full FS. Same for the footer. You can go to settings and format. It will allow you to see all the different pages if you want to go to any page. Reapply formatting. This option allows you to reapply the formatting that you have set up under format document. Then you've got the page menu. Page menu, this, as the name suggests, relate to a particular page. So for example, if I am on my statement of financial position, I click on page menu. These options will be for my page balance sheet or statement of financial position menu. Section. The section is part of the page, so it allows you to view the properties of a particular section, to turn on or off if required, or keep together. The keep together concept, we will discuss that later in this session. The row, self-explanatory. You can sort rows, sort ascending, descending. Once again, you must make sure that you are on a particular table. You click on the table first, on a row in the table, to be able to access these options. If they are grayed out, it means that you cannot do a sorting in any way. The column options. This is quite important. For instance, if you want to print, always print a column, hide a column of a table, or format a column type. If you have created your own table, this can be found on the column menu. Just make sure always, that's my recommendation to you, click on the column that you want to do, like for example, hiding or always printing, so that you make sure that you're on the right column. And this applies for any other options within Caseware. Always click on the section, on the page, on the table, on the row that you want to make a modification. The go-to menu allows you to jump easily to the different sections within the financial statement. That's the second part of the menu. Or alternatively, you can go to sections within Caseware. For example, the information store, the trial balance, the journal entries. And I really like that. Instead of scrolling up, if you don't want to use the document map, then please use the go-to. You want to go faster when you're preparing financial statements, and we've added all these little options for you. Then the options menu allow you to, for example, if you want to add annotations, but we're going to discuss annotations in audit in more details. And I've also noted down a question about hyperlinks, so we're going to discuss that at the end of this session. The lead sheets, if it is ticked, means that you can view your lead sheet from the financial statement itself. So I'm going to show you that in a few moments. The balance check. So if you want to freeze your balance check, whether your statement of financial position is balancing, your cash flow, your retained earnings compared to prior year is balancing, so you can freeze that on the top. We're going to see that concept again. Then you've got your column set up, your lead sheet set up. How do you want to see your lead sheet? Do you want to see it 2 years or 3 years? You also have the turn on notes with balances features, the enable special features. We're not going to go into much of that feature, but this usually will be used for your console and your builder mode options. Again, if you have any question, these advanced questions, feel free to connect to our community to have more details. And you've got the rounding option, the lines, the long lines, the different print profiles, and content version management. Then you've got the Get Help option, where you can click on the Get Help or About. Then something that you will use quite often, that's the Super Insert button, that little plus icon on a green background. It helps you to quickly insert blank pages, new notes, or accounting policies, depending where your cursor is. Page breaks, very easy to add a page break. Just make sure that you place your cursor on the section, on the area where you want to insert the page break before. You can easily insert text or paragraphs. The text option allows you to insert three paragraphs. You can insert related text as well. You can insert easily new tables, different tables, insert multiple rows at once using that plus button. Then these little arrows on the screen help you to insert quickly a line. So if you are on a manual table or automatic table that you have inserted, you can easily insert a line. You could also remove the line, and you can sort the line. So it's a line or a row, depending on how you want to define that. It's the same thing. So you can make sure that you click on the table so that these are activated. Then you've got the column settings. This was also found under the options. When you activate the column settings, you can decide, for example, if we are going to apply foreign exchange, the different reporting periods. So for instance, the first column will be your current year, and the second one will be prior year. If there is, for whatever reason, your client asks you to change that, this is under the column settings that you can do that. Also, the different reporting buckets or reporting periods for those of you preparing on a monthly basis. This is how you can also change your column settings. Then the balance check, the balance check can also be activated with that shortcut tile and freeze it on the top. That's the same option as under options balance check. It will freeze this screen on the top so that you can always see whether your statement of financial position is balancing or not, whether your cash flow is out or not, and more. Then you've got the annotations button or shortcut tile, where if you activate it, there will be little plus icons next to each line item, allowing you to add a note. For example, if you click on that little plus button for property, planning and equipment, there is something that you want to inform your manager, or your manager want to write something for next year, you can use that little annotate button. Issues, we've discussed issues yesterday. So if your manager has raised issues, you can activate the issues list. These are the quick jumps. You can quickly jump to your balance sheet, BS, or statement of financial position. Quickly jump to income statement, the IS, or statement of comprehensive income, or statement of profit or loss and comprehensive income. Jump to your SOCI, statement of changes in equity, the EQ. Jump to statement of cash flow for the CF. Then you've got the little triangle on a green circle. That's the back button. When you click on it, it will take you to the page that you've lastly clicked on. And I really like that option. It really works well. So for example, you are on a node, you want to go back on any of the nodes, that you were previously on, simply click on that back button and it will take you back. Then you've got the settings and formats button. This works when you are on a particular page. For instance, in that example, you first click on the statement of financial position. Then when we click on the settings and format, that cartwheel, the green cartwheel button, it will open the settings of the page of balance sheet. The changes that you will do here to the properties will only apply to the statement of financial position. One thing which is important, the changes that you will do here will override any formatting that you've done under document format. Recommended best practice, though, is to format the document first. You want to have the whole document formatted, then you go granular to the page that you want to do a change. Then you can always launch the optimize window to check again all the different accounting policies in the file or that was not inserted that you want to insert. So this will be another optimize button on your freeze. The version of your template will always be on the top right of your screen, top right corner of your screen. The version is very important. If you're chatting with our support team members from Success Community, they might ask you, what's your version of your template? Simply look at your financial statements, top right, you'll see the version. You also have that same location for your version on your info store. All right, some basics of the financial statements. Now, I'm quickly going to, before I go in here, I just want to make sure that on your side as well, you've got your financial statements now ready. Bottom left of the screen, you should see a ready written bottom left of your screen. Did I say right or left? I've got a problem with right. Sorry about that. But the left corner of the screen, there's the ready button. Start to use the quick jumps. Let's quickly jump to balance sheet. I'm going to explain some concepts that we can use from the balance sheet. We can use the balance sheet as the platform for explaining that. Just giving you a few moments to quickly jump to BS, and then I'll pull through the different slides. All right, so let me pull up my slide. You can also follow on the slide and also check onto your screen where to find the different basics that I'm going to explain now. So the first basic is whatever is in a black font on your financial statement will print. Like in here, in that example, the property, plant and equipment is in black font, so it's going to print. Whatever is in a blue font will not print, doesn't print. The red fonts will print. Usually it will be a hyperlink. It can be a note, number, or it can also be an issue. Like, for example, you need to reconcile your property, plant and equipment note. There will be a defined difference. It will be in red, and it will print if you do not define the difference, if you do not reconcile it. You can always right-click to access row options. So on a particular row, like here for property, plant and equipment, you can right-click on the row, throughout the row, to access some options. On the right-clicking menu option, you have the option to activate or open your trial balance drill down. The drill down will show you the portion of your TB for property, plant, and equipment in that example, so that you can see what are the account numbers that have been mapped to that PPE line. The lead sheet drill down allows you to view the lead sheet for property, plant, and equipment in that case. Alternatively, you can also select document 305, which will be your lead sheet number, your lead sheet for PPE. If there has been a note, if there has been any annotations on that lead sheet, you can also view them, modify it, open it. Yeah, but please rest assured, I'll cover again the hyperlink later today. You can easily jump to the accounting policy relevant to that row for property, plant, and equipment, for example. You can easily jump to the notes, right-clicking and jump to notes. Alternatively, you can also select the note number. Now a quick tip. For instance, that note number 2, if you click on it, you're going to jump to the note for PPE. For whatever reason, you want to see the note for investment property. It's currently n-hash, meaning that the note is not activated or it's not turned on. If you want to access it, simply right-click and jump to the note. You're going to go to the investment property note instead of scrolling through and trying to look for it. The properties option will activate the properties of a row. I've already defined the row properties earlier when we were going through the row option, but we'll see that again, I think, in the next slides. Then you've got the column options, the section options, the page options, the paragraph. You can add a new issue. Now, I'd like us to discuss about rounding. So you can configure the rounding of the full document. This is usually done by selecting the document menu on your financial statements toolbar, configuration, rounding. You're then going to select the automatic rounding option and select the rounding limit. That will be the limit that you would like the financial statements to round if there is a difference. In that example, we're comfortable if the rounding limit is set to $3. So if for example, the statement of financial position is not balancing by $4, it will not round it. So then the rounding options, where will it go? To trade payables, other payables, trade receivables. You can select the appropriate radio button and then select on OK. Now I'm going to do that first step with you on our financial statements. I'm also going to refer to the practice set. We are currently on page 4. We have already done exercise 3. Opening of the financial statements. The link was shared with you on the chat of this webinar. And going forward, this is how we will do. We are going to share with you the links to the different different exercises on the chat. Let's do exercise 4. We want to balance the financials. So what I like, maybe let's first activate our balance check. That's the red and green button on your freeze. Make sure we freeze our balance check. I'm also going to increase a little bit my view so that you can see my screen, and then minimize my ribbon. our statement of financial position is currently out of balance by -1 for 2023 and 2 for 2022. Our objective is to get that statement of financial position. So we will go to Document, Configuration, Rounding. This should open the rounding dialog box. And the first thing that we need to do is select the automatic rounding, so that going forward, when we import the trial balance for 2024 or the subsequent years, there will be an automatic rounding. And the limit for the rounding here, we're going to select 3. If the statement position is out by an amount greater than 3, then it will not round. We will need then to investigate further. But for today, let's put 3. We're happy for the rounding to go to the trade payables and select on OK. If you should follow my cursor, bottom left of my screen, we've got the executing script showing you that it is busy doing the rounding. You always have to wait for the executing script to be done, then you can proceed. And it will say ready when it is ready for you to start scrolling. Now, if you have a look at your balance check, the statement of financial position balances is now in green, and it has balanced our balance sheet. Now, the cash flow statement will be discussed on a later session, so we will leave that one for the session that is coming in a few weeks. For now, let's move to the section 5 of our practice set. We're going to format the entire document. Remember, recommended best practice is to go global. You format the document entirely first, then you can go granular to the different pages that you want to modify. Okay, so let's talk about the format document options. Like mentioned, recommended best practice is to go through the global settings, that is, use the formatting of the document. You click on document, you can access the formatting of your document, you can change the font, you can change the way that your headers are printing, the footers are printing, you can sort the sections, you can configure your rounding and go through the different options for your financial statement. Then we'll go to specific settings, that is more granular, page per page, like the balance sheet, the way that you want it to be set up. Then you'll go to the settings and format. That green cartwheel that you have on your freeze, you can select it to open the settings of a page. There are different ways that you can access the settings and format. It can be via document, settings and format. Make sure first you click on the page, or you right click on the page, then you go to settings and format, or you can use the icon settings and format, that green cartwheel, or again right click. There's several ways for you to access specific settings. Let's take the example of the balance sheet. So what we want to do is format the full document. I've just inserted a screenshot of a balance sheet because it's easy to explain to you the different properties when you format a document. So when you click on document, format document, it will open the format document window. On the left hand side of the window, you've got all the properties that you can modify for your documents. If you select general, for instance, you've got different options. You've got the option to change the font type. You can also change the way your currency position is pooling. If it says next to the year, the currency position will show like this. If you should follow my pointer, it will appear like figures in red here if it says next to the year. If you want it to be beneath the year, then select the drop down, select beneath the year, and it should appear just beneath your different years. The page title option allows you to change the title case, the title, font size, style, and justification for your full document. Remember, we are on the format document option. I'll do the exercise together, but I just want to make sure that you understand the different concepts of formatting document. So for instance, the page title is currently a normal case. So that's the normal case. The font size is 14. The style is bold. And the justification is left. So it's going to be the same format for the full documents. Page column heading relate to your heading of all your documents. You can change also the font size and style. Then you have the body heading level 1. An example of a body heading level 1 will be that assets. Now you can have a level 1 heading in the accounting policies as well. So if in here you want it to be, you can change the case here and put it to capital. Font size, you can change the style as well. Level 2, this is an example from balance sheet, but you can also have that into your accounting policies or your notes. You can also change the formats. Then the body subheading, for instance, I'm taking an example from the accounting policies. That's an example, because remember, we are from a format document. Wherever it will see a body subheading, it will then format as per your instruction. The body text, this is we are in the format document option. It will format the text of your financial statements. You can change the justification. So do you want to be it to be left justify or center justify or other? Nicely justified. Table text, if you are on a table or all the tables across your financial statements can be modified under table text for the size and the style. The table total text, how do you want it to print? Bold, unbold, the size, again, under the format document option. Now, let's move to, before we go granular to the statement of financial position changes, let's go to exercise 5, where we want to do a global formatting. We want to format the entire document. First of all, we're going to start with the changing the general font type. We want it to be Cambria. So, on your financial statement, select just beneath your green ribbon, Document menu, then the Format Document option. You should now have on that window, the name of that window is the Format Document. So it allows you to see that you're formatting your full document. The font type, we want it to be Cambria. And the currency position, we are instructed to put that beneath the year. So we want it to be beneath 2023, 2022. Let's not yet click on OK. We want to perform some more changes. Our page title, we want it to be uppercase. The page title, here an example will be the statement of financial position, can be your accounting policies, can be your notes to the financial statements, statement of changes in equity cash flow, all of these titles. We want them to be uppercase. Select page title properties on the left-hand side of your window, and the change case, select the uppercase. Let's move to the next one. The page title, we are instructed to put it to center justify. So it was initially left justify. We want it to be pulled the center of our document. The page column heading style, bold. Page column heading. For the style, we want it bold. Change the font style to bold. Again, it was initially on regular. If you should follow my cursor, you see the regular of 2023, 2022. So let's put it to bold. And this is again for the full document. We're formatting the whole document. Then let's move to body heading level 1. So the case, you want it uppercase, the size 11, and the style bold. Uppercase for the case. Font size, we want it bold. Font size 11, font style, we want it bold. And body heading L2. So we are requested to have a font of bold italic. And the justification, if you scroll to the justification and indent, the justification is going to be justify. Want it nicely justified for the full document, all our accounting policies, our notes, anything that we write down, the different reports, the director's reports and everything, nicely justify. If you're done, please select OK. Bottom right of your screen, the first button, the OK button, to apply all the formatting. It is going to execute script. Whoops. Again, it will apply all the changes that you've selected on Format Document menu. Once again, rule of thumb, do not force close. Just give it a few moments. It's taking 30 seconds to insert all the formatting. And always remember that, guys. Human time, we would have taken 4 hours to do that. Now the technology is doing it for us. I'm just gonna give it time to execute script, and then we will continue. So on my side, my file is ready. It has applied all the formatting at the global level. So if I go, for instance, I'm going to activate my document map just to show you how it applied everything. If I go to my general information page, my title is Center Justify. Same for my content page, my director's responsibilities and approval, my director's report, my independent auditor's report, balance sheet, P&L, SOCI or statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flows, accounting policies, and the notes. So it has taken the global settings first. Note as well, the body heading level 1 is capitalized. It's capital letter format. So same here, if you look at assets, that's a body heading level 1. If you go to where to the notes to the financial statements, you also notice that the different titles for the notes are also picking up the document format. Now, let's move granular to the financial statements and do some changes to the different reports within our financial. All right, so we've got a bunch of granular formatting that we have to apply. And I'm sure every one of us want to have a body break now, and we just want to have a cup of coffee before we proceed. So before going for break, we've got a very nice poll for you. So I'm going to launch the poll. So please do answer the poll. We look forward to receiving your answers. We're excited to see whether you're part of SAICA, SAIPA, CIMA, ACCA, or other. Please do take a few minutes to answer the polls. We're really looking forward to your different participations, and yeah, feel free to use to answer and be part of this. Yeah, very nice webinar. Oh, wow, I can see the different responses. Thank you so much for responding. And whilst you're responding, in a few moments, we'll take a 10 minutes break sharp. Please make sure that you're back on time. I'll show you how to do the settings and the formattings granular per page. We're going to go slowly so that you understand the different changes. We'll go through the line properties. I've seen we've got some very nice questions in terms of sorting, in terms of updating, in terms of making changes. So very excited to proceed with the next part. Please make sure that you stay until the end. We've got a very nice survey. We really want to know how you see this. Yeah. All right, so we're going to give it 30 more seconds for those of you who did not yet reply. Are you from SAICA, representing SAIPA, ACCA, or any other qualifications? CIMA? I'm proudly from ACCA, so hey, I'm so happy to see 13% from ACCA. SAICA leading the board, yes. All right, now I'm going to close the poll. Thank you so much for your participation. I hope that you did enjoy a quick cup of coffee or tea if you're Mauritian. A quick reminder, you have the link to the practice set and the copy of our slides in the chat. In respect of our recording, we're busy editing same. We'll make sure that you get it as soon as possible, as soon as this is complete. If you have not been able to do a particular section, please do use the practice set. It's very nicely set out so that you can follow the different formatting that we've discussed this morning. Now, time for a little gift. Who's gonna receive a gift from Caseware Africa? So the one replying correctly, the first one replying correctly will receive a gift to the following question. The question is, if you want to change the font of your financial statement, where can you find it? There's a little surprise. For those of you answering to that question correctly, I want the correct answer to where, if you want to change the font of your financial statements, where can you find it? How do you do that? No one want to receive the gift. So I see some answers. I really want the right, correct answer. Wow, I can see somebody has the correct one. Some of you, yeah. I see answers pulling through. Wow, well done, guys. There are more gifts coming into our different session. Next week, we've got surprises for you. Thank you so much for answering that question. And all those answering questions, yeah, we'll definitely make sure that we will help you. I was quickly browsing through who was the first one to give the correct answer. So this was Mohammed Ziyad. Well done. That's the document, format document option where you can format the font of your financial statements. So well done. We're writing down your name, Mohammed, and we will make sure to send you a gift. All right, so we were just, sorry you guys, we were just writing down, making sure that we have your name here. Well done to you. Thank you everybody for your participation. Let's now move to the granular settings of our financial statements. We're going to start with the statement of financial position. The one thing I want to show you here is that you can change your wording preferences. So before we do that, make sure that you do click on the page statement of financial position. Then you can either right click on the gray bar on the top of your screen where it says statement of financial position and access settings and format. Alternatively, if you are on the page, you can select the green cartwheel to activate your settings and format window. Under wording preferences, you've got different options to change your report name. Sometimes the client wants it to be balance sheet instead of statement of financial position or other. If you select other, this will allow you to change the name of the report and insert the one that you need. I'm going to refer now to the practice set and see. So let me end the show. So let's start with the balance sheet change. We would like to change the statement of financial position to balance sheet. So to do that, once again, I'm going to click anywhere on my statement of financial position. I like to use my quick jump, my settings and formats. It's really convenient because wherever I am on my document, if I want to modify a page, I make sure I select anywhere on the page, and then the title of that window will indicate you whether you're doing the correct change in your document, in your page. So first of all, we're requested to change the name from statement of financial position to balance sheet. So I'm going to wording preferences, then select balance sheet. We also requested here under general to increase our row spacing from 0.05 centimeters to 0.10 centimeter. You can also, by the way, update the spacing for your total lines for your statement of financial position. Let's press on OK. It will execute script, and the change will be done for our page for balance sheet. Please also note that wherever your documents, your financial statement will refer to statement of financial position. It will then be updated to balance sheet. That's the beauty of the technology. You change one place correctly using the right channel, and it will update all your financial statements. So we changed the naming convention from statement of financial position to balance sheet. This has been updated on our page itself, but also everywhere where it referred to statement of financial position. I'm going to remove the balance check freeze, deselect the red and green icon button so that we can view my screen more in a better way. Now, on the practice set, still number 9, we are requested to change all the liability 1 to accrued expenses. So let's scroll through the balance sheet. And the current liabilities, you have a row called Other Liability 1. So the request is to, first of all, to change that name. We want to call it Accrued Expenses. And we're also requested to print the line, that is, to change the font from blue to black. So remember, in the first part of this session, we explained to you that you can access the properties of a row by right-clicking anywhere on the row, then go to Properties. This should open your line properties. In the second part of the window, in the middle of the window, you've got first the description. The default is Other Liability 1. We want to rename this to Accrued Expenses. And the next request is to show the line even if it has a 0 balance. That is, to show it in a black font, to print it even if it is a 0 balance. It's currently in blue, we want it to print. For those of you catching up, I've activated that window by right-clicking over Other Liability, then selected Properties, Other to rename Other Liability 1 to Accrued Expenses, and then selected the style, the checkbox, Show Line even if it is a 0 balance. Once we're done, we can press on OK to confirm. Now you have your accrued expenses appearing in black, meaning that it will print, and also the figures, which is nil here, is also going to print. The full row will print. If we scroll up to the current liability, the current asset portion, we're now requested to sort the current assets so that trade receivables is on the first line item. So currently, trade and other receivables is currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th row under current assets. We want to move it to the first one. So first of all, we place our cursor, and that's the secret in everything that you do in Caseware financial statements. Always click on the region where you want to perform a change. Then you can either right-click, go to row, sort rows. That's the first option. Right-click, row, sort rows. Alternatively, you can also use your shortcut tile, the A to Z button with a downward arrow. That's the sort line shortcut tile. it will open that portion of current assets, and you can easily move up or down the different rows that you need. So I'm going to select trade and other receivables, and then use the move up button to move that row to the first part. And we can press on OK to confirm. And our trade and other receivables is now on the top part of our current assets. Let's now move to the next item, which is to switch on the long lines. If you need to switch on the long lines on your financial statements, like the long lines will be, look at, if you should follow my cursor for the total of non-current assets or current assets or total assets, the long line will be that line, that line for your total will then move to the left of the screen. It's going to be a long line. So you're going to go to Options, Lines, Long Lines. Options, Lines, Long Lines. So you've got your long lines then activated throughout your document this time. It's not only going to be just for balance sheet, but it's going to be for everything. Let me jump back to balance sheet. If you want to remove the long lines, you do the other way around. You go back to Options, Lines, and you deselect the long lines. The next item is to switch on the narration area for the managing director to sign. So still on your balance sheet, if you scroll down to the last part of your balance sheet, you will have the narration area. It's currently in blue, meaning it's not printing. We're going to turn it on. To turn on a blue item, you right-click over the section or the item you want to turn on, and then select the on option. Here we go. You've got your narration area. It's in a green background, meaning it is editable. If there is something you want to change here, there is a wording you want to add, which is relevant to the entity, you can. Your director, we want one director to sign. It's going to appear here. And also a sub area of your narration area. If you want more than one director to print, again, because it's a page formatting, make sure that you click anywhere on the page balance sheet, activate your settings and formats, and the director's name, turn it on, and choose the number to sign. The director names turned on will allow you to pull the names of your directors from your information store on the financial statement. In this example, I only want one director to sign, so I'm not going to do the change. Now let's move to the settings and format of SPLOSY, of your statement of profit or loss, and access to settings and format by clicking on the green cogwheel to activate the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. The window itself, the title of the window should show you the title of your page. There are different properties that you can change specific to your SPLOSY. Under general, you can decide to print other comprehensive income on income statement even if it is zero, or do not print it. You can change the wording of other comprehensive income. You can change the spacing for the total lines and rows. You can change the page title formatting. If you don't want it to get the global formatting, you want something else, a more granular formatting for your P&L, you can change it here. You can also change the text, the table, total text, and more. So let's move now. Let's jump back to the Word document. We want to present the income statement using the two-statement approach, the income statement and the statement of comprehensive income. And we want to rename this statement, statement of profit or loss. Let's do that together. Use your shortcut tile IS. You want to jump to your statement of profit or loss. This time, I'm going to use the right-click option on the gray bar, statement of financial, statement of profit or loss, and other comprehensive income, and then select settings and format. It's the same thing as the green cartwheel. We're requested, if you scroll up under general properties, if you scroll up, you have the option statement approach, where you have your income statement and your statement of comprehensive income. Let's click on OK to confirm. You now have a statement of financial performance. And if you scroll down, you also have your statement of comprehensive income, which is going to print on another page. The two formats. Remember, the next request on the practice set is to rename the statement to statement of profit or loss. Same drill, because it's a page formatting. You click anywhere on the page of statement of financial performance, activate your settings and formats, and then under wording preferences, this is where you can select and change the wording. So they want us to call that statement of profit or loss. We can't see it under the report name wording preferences. Then we're going to select and then type in the name that we need. Press on OK to confirm. And here we go. It's going to execute script so that wherever that heading appears, it will show the statement of profit or loss heading. Right. All right, I can see some comments. If we can go back a step, there's another comment that you can't see your wording preferences. All right, So let's take a step back, and thank you for asking that. That session is made for you, so we really look forward to your questions. So the wording preferences will be there whether you are on version 2022 or 2023. To get to wording preferences, let's take the example of this statement. You first make sure that you click anywhere on the statement. Then activate your settings and format. That's the green card. Well, if you should follow my cursor on the screen. To activate your settings and format. The wording preferences will be under the properties column on the left of your screen. And then you can select the name and select other, or any other name that you wish. And for those of you who did not get the two-statement approach, this is found if we are referring to the statement of profit or loss. This is found under general properties. Make sure that you scrolled up. The options are found at the top. Usually when you open it, you'll see just this part of the screen shows statutory income statement by nature, by functions, and other. Make sure that you scroll it up. On the top, the second radio button, this is where you get your two statements approach. If you don't need that, you want to go back to the single statement, you can then select the single statement. I hope that Reese and Faika, that I'll be able to answer your questions. Okay. Let's now move to your statement of changes in equity, the settings and format. Again, we're now in the, we're still in the granular approach to your statements, where you can make the changes under settings and format. Now, in the statement of changes in equity, what is usually useful for yourself as a first-time user of Caseware financial statement is the hiding of columns in the statement of changes in equity when they are blank. So this again has been is available under the settings and format. Okay, let's do that once again. Statement of changes in equity. Click anywhere. Go to your settings and format. All those columns which are blank, you don't have anything printing or appearing, they are all in blue. If you want to squeeze a bit that report and only show those columns relevant for your client, you can then hide them using the settings and format. Click on the cartwheel, the green cartwheel button, select the first option, hide blank column. And press on OK. I see we've got several questions relating to the wording preferences. I'll come back to that just now. I just want to complete the statement of changes in equity, the hiding of blank columns under settings and format, and I'll come back, I promise, to your wording preferences. So here we go. The statement of changes in equity, we've got all the blank columns that are not required has been hidden. Now, if you're wondering, how do I know whether some columns have been hidden under statement of changes in equity? This is with that yellow triangle on the top of your financial statement, it's a warning telling you that blank columns have been hidden. So if you want to unhide it, go back to settings and format and deselect the hide blank columns. If you need a column and you need to insert something, so you can unhide it. Okay. Right, let me go back 2 steps to the wording preferences. Okay. Your wording preferences option, I trust we're still talking about your income statement, will be found under settings and format. So make sure that you click on the statement first, then you go to settings and format, and you should see your wording preferences. If I go again, that was my statement of financial performance. If I scroll down to my statement of comprehensive income, I click on it anywhere, activate my settings and format again, I also have the wording preferences. Make sure that you refer to the properties to the left of your screen, and also ensure that you have the title on the top will indicate to you where you currently are. The wording preferences, for instance, will not appear if you are under format documents. There's no wording preferences here. Maybe you're referring to the format document. I'm not sure. If we go granular to a page, because remember, the wording preference will be in respect of a particular page. For example, balance sheet. If I click anywhere on balance sheet, I want to change the wording. I go to settings and format, then the wording preferences will be here. And then you can select the report name. I hope that helps. For those of you who asked the question about wording preferences missing, it depends on which page you're on. Thank you, Ruth, for your question. How do you turn on a column in the statement of changes, of statement of equity if it's off? So by that, I trust that you mean once you turn it off, to get it back, you go back to settings and format, you deselect the hide blank columns, press on OK, it should bring it back on. Thank you, Ruth, for a question. So how do you unhide? Not unhide, but how do you turn on a column in the statement of changes in equity if it is off? So make sure that you click on your SUKI, statement of changes in equity, then settings and formats, make sure that the hide blank columns is deselected. And hey, Abubakar, thank you for your question. If you want to, oh, the rows. Okay, so for the rows, You won't be eliminating it as such if it is unused, because it will be blue. So it is not going to print. But you might want, if you don't want to see it, if you're done with all your modifications, you can then go to reviewing enabled, under document reviewing enabled. Then it's going to hide any rows that you don't need. But please be careful with that reviewing enabled. As the word suggests, it's for reviewing. So the assumption will be you're mostly done with your financial statements. You're reviewing it, so there will be limited editing. Whatever will be in blue will be hidden. You only see items that print. Now that we've done with the statement of changes in equity, let's move to the statement of cash flow, the settings and formats. So again, if you click on CF on the shortcut tile, you can easily access to your statement of cash flow, activate your settings and formats for granular formatting of the page. We have under the properties, under settings and formats, the option to show direct cash flow statement or indirect cash flow statement. So you can choose which format that you want to show or your client has requested. So I remind you the details and the reconciliation of your cash flow and the explanation of how does it work will happen in the weeks to come. Today, it's really about the high level overview and introduction of how you can use your financial statements, how you can modify it. So let's jump to the cash flow. What we want to achieve here is, first of all, we want to click anywhere on the cash flow, go to the settings and formats. Then select the appropriate format that we want to display the cash flow, the direct or the indirect format. Now, going to share with you some quick tips, and then we're going to go and complete the rest of the practice set. A quick reminder, you can access to the line properties. If you want to change the name of a particular line item, you can right click and then select line properties, other, change the name if required. You can even show the line even if it is a zero balance, or switch display signs. The narration area can be switched on by right-clicking on the narration area, and then you can switch it on. It is going to appear in black, meaning that you can then modify, and it's going to print. The green area will then appear. It's modifiable, it's editable, so you can modify. The yellow cells means that it's pulling the data from somewhere else, can be from the info store or the cover page. The ## is the automated page numbering, so you don't need to change that. This will be automated. All the information included from the information store, such as the country of incorporation, the auditor's detail, the registered office, the business address, is going to pull to your general info page. the tax rate, the director's details, the date of signature of audit report. All of these, if you can't see it printing, if it's not turning on, even if you turn it on, it means that it has not been inserted on the information store. Before I move to the information store and also to more editing as per our practice set, let me quickly answer some questions. I see some questions coming through to repeat the selection of direct or indirect method. So when you are on your cash flow, make sure that you select the cash flow. At the moment, you won't have any figures pooling, but just very briefly, you can click on refresh for now. Just trust me on that one. We will definitely cover statement of cash flow, the reconciliation, in the next sessions to come. Now, I've clicked on refresh. It's executing scripts. It's gonna make more sense when we switch off from direct and indirect. Okay, now that my figures are pooling for the current year, so when you click on refresh, it's only the current year figure that will pool. For prior year, very briefly, you will not have any figures pooling if it is the first time you're preparing the financial statements, because the assumption is it's already signed off, and you only need to input the figures into your yellow cell. There's no more work to do. So has already been audited and signed off. So that's the principle, very high level, but we'll deep dive into the cash flow discussion in the weeks to come. Now, to change the statement of cash flow from direct to indirect or the other way around, make sure that you click anywhere on the cash flow. The same drill, we want to change the format of a page. So we go to settings and format. The settings and format, the setting and format will then open the window for the page that you were on. So the title of the window is Statement of Cash Flow. Under the general property, the first one, you've got the two radio buttons, the direct cash flow method, the indirect cash flow statement. If I want to go to the indirect cash flow, for instance, I will select the radio button for indirect cash flow and then press on OK. So the default selection on your template will be the cash flow. You can then switch depending on your different requirements. All right, on my screen, we've got the statement of cash flow pooling for the indirect format. So, going back, I hope that I did answer some of your questions relating to the switching of direct and indirect method, and how to pull your figures for the current year and prior year should be done manually for the first time you prepare on Caseware. Expectation is your statements are already signed off for last year. You're just gonna put in manually the figure for the first time you prepare on Caseware. But rest assured, we're covering that in details in the weeks to come. So we've got a question to show us again, how did we get the figures to populate in the cash flow? Is the refresh button that you can find on your statement of cash flow just beneath your current year? Or if you have your the balance check activated, there's also the refresh button there that you can press and it will refresh your current year balance. You can also check out whether your cash flow is out of balance for the current year. Okay, now let's move to the practice set. We've got quite some items to cover. We are going to go page by page to apply the different formatting. So let's start with the cover page. So they would like us to add an entity logo. So I'm just going to quickly check out if we've got the entity logo provided to you. Change the font size to 12, the case to uppercase, the style to bold, and the company justification should be center. So let's do that step by step together. And remember, you can use the different quick jumps into your case view document. You can use the go-to option to go to the cover page, for instance, to quickly jump to the cover page. Alternatively, you can use the document map on the left of your screen if you feel that this one is better for you. Scroll up, go to your cover page. Now, to apply the formatting for that cover page, remember, now it's granular. You can go to settings and format, and then start the formatting. So let's change the font size to 12. So you can use body text for any texts, or you can also go granular to the report name details and report name format. So our company name, they want us to put it in 12 point font size. The case should be uppercase, and the style will be bold. So under the cover page settings and format, go to the properties, report name format, and you can update the formatting. You will notice that all those items printing on the cover page have their sections. You can granular, you can format it in a more granular way. You can change, for example, if you don't want the preparer details to print, you can deselect. You don't want the published data as well, you can deselect if you don't need it to print. Again, all the information pulling here are coming from your information store. And we can press on OK to confirm. Now, as part of the practice set, we're also requested to insert our entity logo. So for the logo, you can use a picture if you have one handy, or if you were provided with a picture. I don't think we did that one, but that's okay. You can copy a picture from anywhere onto your computer. So to insert your client logo, you're going to double click on the logo, client logo, Then click on browse, and then browse to the location of your different logos. So, and then once you've done with the browsing, recommended best practice is to click on embed picture in document. This will make sure if you're collaborating with your team members that they can also see the logo in their file. The embedding will then make sure that the logo stay on the particular document that you're on. If you don't want to print a logo, if your client doesn't want to print a logo, you can then access to settings and formats. Actually, it's under report name details where it says entity logo. You can deselect the entity logo. This will be only in the event the client doesn't want to print a logo. I repeat, settings and format, deselect under report name details. Right. I see that we've got a few questions on the indirect format is not appearing for some of you. So if you are currently preparing the financial statement, if your file, Wrap-Up Manufacturing, has been prepared on IFRS or SME version 2022 template, then you won't see the option to switch from direct and indirect. Our recommendation is to update your template, download the latest IFRS or SME template, the 2023 template, so that you can access that option to switching from direct and indirect. Hope that will help you. And if you need assistance with downloading the latest template, please do log in onto community. There's the chat function over there. Our team will help you with accessing the latest template. Moving on to the director's report now, the next part of this session, we are requested to increase the signature area so that 3 directors can sign the FS, inserting spacing of 2 centimeters. On the signature area, select the individual names of our directors. To jump to the director's report, this time I will use my document map on the left pane of my screen to jump to the director's report. From there, I can scroll down to go to the area where I want to modify. So we're requested to increase the number of directors to sign on this report. Make sure that you click on the report first, then access settings and formats. Under director's name, let's turn on the names because we want to pull and select the names that we have inserted under InfoStore. The number to sign will be 3. And the spacing between each signature lines, we're going to select 2 centimeters. So between each subsequent signature line, there will be 2 centimeters space. Press on OK. and we have our 3 directors pooling. To access the names, you can click on the drop down of the director and select the different director's name. Right, so that's the 3 signature pooling now on our report. I was quickly checking out the different questions. There's one question that's asking me to revisit the cover section on logo. So let's do that. If I go back to cover page, if you want to insert the logo, let's start with that first one. You double click on the icon client logo, double click on that, and then browse to the location of the logo. Once you've selected your logo, recommended best practice is to embed the picture so that you can see the picture on the screen. It's going to show you while you're viewing. And also, if you're collaborating with your team, the link is not going to break. So you'll be able to view, or your team will be able to view the logo. That's one. Secondly, that's in the event your client wants to print the logo on the financial statements. The other option, the other scenario is when the client doesn't want to see the logo here and you don't want it to print either. So first you go to settings and format. Under report name details properties, deselect the entity logo. Press on OK. So what will happen when you deselect, I didn't deselect it. If you deselect, you won't be able to see the logo. It's not going to print. Do that again with you for those who don't want to print. There's another very good question. How do you turn on the text if it's off for, let's say, the client name, like this one? If you can't see this pooling, first of all, this name is coming from your settings, your engagement property. So the step number 1 is make sure that you've inserted the name and the operating name in engagement properties in Caseware. So just a quick reminder, if I go to engagement on Caseware working paper, engagement properties, operating name, that's where the name is picking up on the financial statement. Now, if you've done that check, the name is still not pooling, then you go to settings and format. Report name details should actually see there shouldn't be any option that doesn't show you the name of the client. The main way to change that is to go to the engagement properties. So yeah, I hope that I did answer your question. There's another question from Janine. Kindly let me know how to get to the list on the left. So that's the document map. Under Home tab on your case view ribbon on financial statements, navigation group, you have the document map. You can toggle it on and it will show your document map on the left of your screen. All right, I'm just conscious of time, guys. I'm going to move now to the next exercise, exercise 8, which relates to the independent auditor's report. We're requested to remove the header logo from the report, insert spacing of 4 centimeters to accommodate a pre-printed letterhead, and we want also to remove the logo from the footer. So let's do that together. Let's go to our independent auditors report. So Andre, I'm quickly going to answer the question from Andre. How do we change the logo if the initial logo was embedded in the document? You can double click on the logo. It will open the option to browse. Simply double click over it. Now, and on the independent auditors report, let's first go to click on the report itself, settings and formats. Let's scroll down to header and footer. Now, you've got all these settings for your header and your footer for independent auditors reports. What we want here is to remove the logo, the header logo. We don't want an image to pull. So you can deselect the use image checkboxes. Then under the type of letterhead, we're saying that we want a pre-printed letterhead. We're going to print it on our letterhead. And we want to insert a spacing of 4 centimeters to make sure that we have enough space for our letterhead when we print our independent auditors report. We are also requested to remove the logo from the footer, and this is simply done by deselecting the use image option. And press on OK. By the way, I just want to highlight your attention. You also have the header lines. That's also a common question that I usually receive. How do you remove header line or footer line on my auditor's report in Caseware? So it's just by accessing the settings and format for independent auditors report. Go to the properties of header footer. This is where you can modify. The template is extremely flexible, allow you to adjust to what you want to print for your reports. Let's press on OK to accept. It's going to execute script, and then I will come to some of the questions. We've got some very practical, interesting questions. Right. So in our independent auditors report, our letterhead, our logo has been skipped. We've got spaces to print on our letterhead. Now, let's start with some of the questions that we have as we progress, because we've covered the cover page. So one question is on the cover page. Let's go back to the cover page. On the cover page, we've got a question saying that the date and time beneath are printing. So let me repeat that one again on settings and format. Remember, guys, if you see something on a page, your go-to will be the settings and format, because it's a page that you want to touch, that you want to modify. Make sure that you click on the page, which would be cover, then go to settings and format and select anything that you don't want to print. Right? Select, so prepare details, anything that you don't want to print on the cover page. That was one of the different questions. There's another question, very interesting one. If you don't want to print a page, for example, that control page, I'm going to come to the printing just now, but let me cover that because the question is there. If you don't want to print the cover page, the control page rather, you can hide it by right-clicking on the gray bar and deselecting the on. This will then switch off your control page. It will be in blue. It's not going to print. I repeat, just right click and deselect the on. If you want to see it and print it, you can right click and turn it on. Okay. Now, moving to the next one, which will be the switching on of the new standards and interpretation notes. So we are currently in this case study on the IFRS template. So I'm going to go to my notes to the financial statements. You can quickly jump to that section by going to, you can use the go-to menu, then select in the middle of the menu the notes to the financial statements. You could either use, if you prefer, your document map. You can scroll through and locate your notes to the financial statements. Currently, the new standards and interpretation is turned off, meaning it's blue, it's not printing. And to print it, we can right-click and turn it on. So once it is turned on, you can then go through the table, the control table, check out. I've minimized a bit. Check out the different standards, interpretations, or amendments. If you are on the latest version of the template, the control table is updated, is complete as of 26th of September 2023. You can then use the different checkbox for the different periods that you have adopted the standards, the interpretations, or the amendments. The relevance, you can also select whether a standard is relevant or not. And just below on the screen, you also have the different standards, so the details of the standards, effective, adopted in the current year. Sorry, I have to increase the view, turn it on. So once again, you would have gone through on the top of the screen, on the table, gone through the list, look through all of these standards, interpretations, or amendments, make sure whether it's relevant or not. When was it adopted? Prior, current, or future, if it is for a future date. And then this will update your different sections and your different notes. Like here, for instance, the standards and interpretation effective and adopted in the current year. These are pooling based on the top. It's also, yes, applicable for the current period for my business. So these are the lists that is applicable. You've got two options, the detailed version or your shortened version. If you click the radio button detailed version, your different standards applicable and effective adopted during the year will then appear again in blue. You can switch them on so that they can print. And you can get the details. If you want to have the shortened version, you can again come back to the radio button, shorten to see your table. I just mentioning again, this new standards and interpretation is for the case study based on the full IFRS template. Now, I'm going to quickly go through the questions, make sure that we are all aligned. One of the question is, why does it happen that the filter logo should double when you print the report? From Monica. So just make sure that you are in the updated version. I don't foresee, I haven't seen that happening where your logo is showing double. What you can do, Monica, in that case, under the auditor's report, make sure under settings and formats, under header footer, that you've selected the correct type of view footer. So if you want the pre-printed option, make sure it's on the pre-printed. If it is electronic and you don't want an image, or you've got an image on your, on the physical paper, then deselect the use image. But if you want to use image, then yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. There's another request to show the director's report one more time. Yes, 100%. So let's go to the director's report. So on the director's report, you've got different options. But for this purpose of this training, this is very a light portion. We don't go in that much detail, but just to give you a brief overview. So you can insert the report as the Caseware working paper report. That is, you can switch on the different sections that are relevant for you. Just right click and switch on. For example, nature of business is not printing correctly. I want to turn it on. I can then turn on. It's in a green background, so I can modify text is required. We need to turn the text on first. Alternatively, you can insert the report as an image. In that case, we're assuming that you're preparing your director's report outside the working paper. Then you've taken an image of the report. You can browse and insert the image. So you do that usually by selecting the radio button. This report will be included as an image. We've got a full guidance of how to do that on the community. You can feel free to visit our success community. Double click on the image, and then you can browse for the director's report. Let me go back to the report, the default report from the financial statements. The next part that we covered this morning is the signature area. So on the signature area, you can then go to settings and format and change the number of directors that you want to print. If you want the names to appear, switch the checkbox on, click on the on, select the number of directors to sign, and then the spacing between the different subsequent lines, like from Miss Daphne Bridgerton and the space between that director and Miss Lady Whistledown is currently 2 centimeters. I've changed it to 2 centimeters. So if it's not enough, you can also go for more. So we've got some other questions. So to repeat the standard parts, because you've lost me. Okay, no problem. So let me go back to the notes to the financial statements. The step number 1 is to turn it on. I reiterate, we are on the full IFRS template. If you are doing the case study on that, then this will be applicable. If you're using the IFRS for SME, then you will not have the new standards in the template. To turn the note on, you're going to right-click on the note and turn it on. Let me do that again with you. Let me turn it off and turn it back on. Select the on. Okay, then this will show you the control table of your standards, your interpretations, or your amendments. Recommended best practice is to go through the list, assess whether any of these are adopted within the current year, future, or prior, and also whether it is relevant to your clients or to your company. Once this is done, you can then click on apply to sort the statements in the corresponding categories. And then bottom of the table, you've got subsections where you have your standards and interpretation effective and adopted in the current year. So when you switch that on, you'll see all the applicable interpretations and standards applicable to your entity. You also have options to activate standards and interpretation early adopted, not yet effective, or not yet effective or relevant. You can choose between the detailed version of the standards or the shortened version by selecting the appropriate radio button. The default one in the IFRS template will be the shortened version. If you want to switch to the detailed one, you can select the radio button detailed. Then make sure that you scroll down and then switch on the details of the different standards applicable. Simply right-click over the standards and switch them on. Now, let's proceed with the next part, which is the printing of the financial statements. So I've seen a question sometime in that session, I don't remember at what time, at what point, where there was a comment around, we want to print the financial statements, but we don't want to see the lead sheet number printing, like this lead sheet 305. Obviously, when you want to clean a version of your financial statements, you don't want to see that 305 printing. So this can be done under options, print profiles, and you've got quick options over there. Internal review, external draft, external final. Because I'm conscious of time, I will jump to the external final. That will be the final output that you want for your financial statements. So if I go to external final, you will know that all those stuff that is not relevant for your final report will then be turned into blue, such as the lead sheet number. If you've got annotations, if you've got other stuff that's not relevant for a clean set of financial statements, will be hidden. To print preview, so there are different ways to print preview. You can use the reviewing enable mode to have an advanced print preview because you can still drill down. So if I go to document reviewing enabled, anything in blue will be hidden. Anything that should print is going to show. So here, for example, my balance sheet is showing only those rows printing. There was a question earlier for statement of changes in equity that you didn't want to see the rows not relevant. So you can use the review enabled to view the stuff that will print. Now, remember, if you want to change something, if you want to add more, like you want to print a line on your balance sheet, which is in blue, you have to go back to editing enabled. The other way to view your financial statements is to print preview. Now, a quick tip. If you want to see the balance sheet when you click on print preview, make sure that you click anywhere on balance sheet. Then on the top of your screen, there's the print preview icon. It's a paper with a magnifier on it. You can also press on F4 on your keyboard. Press on that to preview here, balance sheet. If you want to preview a note that you're on, you click on the note, then you preview instead of scrolling and looking for it. So the part returning back to the blue would be to go back to document. Just beneath your green ribbon financial statements IFRS title, click on document, select editing enable. This feature allows you to do advanced editing like typing and showing the stuff not printing. So it's currently executing script, making sure that when you print preview, it's nice. It's applying all the formatting that you have instructed it under the document, format document, under the granular settings and format. So the first time that you do a print preview, please be patient. It's going to execute script and show you the page that you've clicked on. And also the full document, of course. So here we go for the print preview. So remember, I've clicked on balance sheet. That's why I'm seeing the page when I print preview of balance sheet. If I want to go to the first page, I can use the page navigation group on the top of your print preview page and then jump to the first page. And then start scrolling through to preview the different sections of my reports. That's the directors report that we've modified with the 3 directors to sign. Our independent report with the 4 centimeter space on the top of the header allowing us to print on our letterhead. And if I scroll down on my footer, there's no logo printing because we deselected the print logo option. Right. To close a print preview, you can click on the close button on the top of your screen to close. Now, if you want to print into a PDF, you can go to File, different ways to do the printing. You can go to Print, Print to PDF. You can save your document in PDF. Press on OK. Choose the location for your printing. You can also update the name of your file and then press on OK. On my side, I decided that it should be saved on my desktop. So that will be the PDF, the end result, the PDF that will appear. Now on your PDF, on the right hand side of your screen, you've got the bookmarks or the quick jumps. You can also easily jump to the different sections of your financial statement. Guys, it was a real pleasure for me to introduce to you the financial statements. Once again, is the introduction of the financial statements for the new intakes. What is next? Tomorrow, we are going to focus on Probe Audit and Audit International. So the group that we are today will be split into two. For those of you using Probe, you will then get the introduction to auditing on Probe. Those of you using Audit International will get the overview of Audit International. Then on the 14th of February, we're going to get an introduction of Caseware Cloud. How does it work? How does you collaborate? How do you collaborate with your different teams? On the 15th, we're going to go in the details of audit report. I went quite fast today, but for those of you who are still struggling, not really being able to do the changes in audit reports, we've got you covered. We're going to cover that on the 15th of February. Also, those of you engaged in reviewing, we're going to go through the review management, how you review your financial statement, how to make sure that the mapping is correct, how can you switch from editing, review, enable. So we're going to go into details of that. And on the 16th of February, we're going to cover stock count attendance for probe and audits. Before you leave the session, we'd like to share with you the QR codes for the Get Ahead Audit Intake 2024 and our company QR code for you to connect with us on LinkedIn. It's an amazing group on LinkedIn. Really look forward to connect with all of you. You can scan using your phone, scan this QR code and connect with all of us. We are going to put on our LinkedIn pages some surprises as well, from what I understand. So please do connect with us. Let's make this really an amazing group. I'm going to launch a poll now before you leave. We really want to see and understand the what articles you're currently busy with. This is going to help us modify and make sure that the content of our presentation really answer to your different year that you're currently in your firm. We are also going to share in a few moments a survey in the chat box. Please ensure that you complete the survey. We really want to understand how you've experienced those first 2 sessions. We've got the survey being copied just now in the chat box. Here you go. Thank you. Please do provide us with the feedback, if possible, today itself, so that we can really make sure that the sessions to come are suits you and your role. All right, thank you for all of you who have participated in the poll. We're going to close the poll now. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to be with you tomorrow to cover Prop Audit and Audit International. See you tomorrow, and thank you all for your kind attention. And we are going to go through the different questions, the PDFs, the presentation, the certificates, the videos will be provided to you as explained earlier. I see also my colleague is planning by next week, earliest, we will be providing with the recording. You've got all the documents, practice set in the chat box, so please make sure that you download it. Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be productive. Looking forward to see you tomorrow morning. Thank you. Goodbye.